Well, Cal, the bad news today is that there's been another train derailment. This time in Andhra Pradesh, and I think something like 25 or 30 people are already dead. Maybe the death toll will go up because a lot of injured people are there. The other bad news is that we still haven't realized that we desperately need to modernize our railways, not just from the point of view of speed or carrying more people. We need to modernize them from the point of view of safety.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at Indian Railways today, Indian Railways, whatever changes that have taken place in the past 10 or 15 years in Indian Railways is that the railways coaches have been changed to carry more and more people.
Right.
You have a double-decker train because some minister dreamt up the concept of a double-decker train. We don't know how stable a double-decker train would be at high speed.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you have the introduction of more and more berths
Yes.
in various air-conditioned classes.
Yes.
So they're literally packing people up like sardines inside a coach. And all these things, I mean, there's tremendous rail travel in India means a lot of hardships. I mean, and there's no concept of timing, punctuality, or anything of that sort. If you have foggy weather, then the train could be delayed by something like 12 hours.
Yes.
As a foreigner who's come from a different country and you've traveled extensively in Europe as well, trains out there, what is your gut reaction to the Indian Railways? And please mention the quality of the food as well, because I believe that's an issue too for a foreigner.
It is. First of all, I'm sorry that there's been this incident. I hope that terrorism wasn't behind it. Do we know what caused it?
No, we don't know as yet.
Okay. Well, I'll be very honest with you. I lived in Europe for 10 years before coming to India, and I traveled to all the European countries. I used trains a lot. I love European trains, and I never cared for them before because in the US it's very hit and miss. But Europe owns the world on trains. They're fantastic. There's many key differences. Everybody honors your space or their space. Nobody crowds anybody. They don't overpack them. Everyone has their own space, their own ability to sit down and do whatever, relax, enjoy the scenery, or get work done on a laptop. There's even phone chargers there, a bunch of stuff. Indian trains, I've been on a few of them, they actually horrify me. I don't like them. They're not safe. They're not safe because they cram too many people. The people in the trains, they don't respect your space. I remember one time I was having dinner in an area where we had paid for that space, and here comes a family and all their cousins and relatives, and I got mad and I said, how many more people are you going to invite to dinner? This is wrong. We paid for this space. Then it's like, okay, let us finish eating, then we'll go. Well, that defeats the whole point. And yet I got, angry looks like I'm the bad guy. I've seen rats on them. I've seen rats outside, rats on the trains. The quality of the food, I've seen how they prepare it. I don't eat on the phone, on the trains. I don't even use the bathroom if I can avoid it, especially sitting down on the trains, because a lot of times you have to be an acrobatic, gymnast to handle it because it's unstable. In Europe, they have bathrooms you can sit in and do what comes naturally.
You mean the bathroom is stable, it doesn't shake?
Not like they do on Indian trains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stability, yes, that's another issue, yes.
Right. And so if I get anything to drink, it's bottled. If I get food, I get it, bring it on board or make it from home. There are times where I've gone from here all the way to Dioria, which is way on the other side of the country, where I didn't use the bathroom one time. I waited till I got there. And so if I had to use an analogy to describe the Indian trains I've been on, or most of them that I've seen, field hospitals. They look like field hospitals. And field hospitals are never pleasant. They look absolutely nothing like the trains in Europe. The inside, the outside, they look like they're about to fall apart.
Basically, you are raising issues regarding the behavior of the passengers also. Obviously, because there is no restriction on the amount of luggage you can bring into the railway compartment.
Yeah.
So that's another issue. People can come in with 4 or 5 bags. They should each passenger should be allowed to carry a maximum of, say, 2 bags or 1 bag. And apart from this, you have people who are traveling without ticket.
Right.
and who are just barging into the compartments.
Right.
So obviously there are issues on all fronts, which means that the railways should no longer be the property of the government. The government's not being able to run the railways properly. The railways should be handed over to a good company with an ethical background like the Tatas. I'm not saying a company that would only indulge in profit maximization, because that would defeat the entire purpose. And they should be allowed to raise funds and modernize the railways and redo the entire thing, because we are way behind in terms of technology, I believe.
Yeah, and there's no excuse for it. I mean, trains in this country are imported as a concept. They weren't invented in India. But you brought up an issue, luggage. I remember one time, this one family had such a huge case of luggage that when they laid it down on the floor on its side, it took up about 80% of the entire floor space. So my legs are sitting on top of their baggage, which is ridiculous. Another family, they had a baby, didn't even have a diaper, the baby crapped everywhere. They kind of just smiled and cleaned it up and everybody had to smell it. I mean, it's just disgusting. And what bothers me is Indian trains are hit and miss. They're either dives on wheels or they're stupidly overpriced luxury trains. It's like there's no in between. And what India needs to do is outsource the whole issue, because they're not competent or qualified to do it right. I'm just being blunt. They need to hire companies. There's many of them from Europe, or Japan makes great trains. You know, in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, they're making a train that is going to travel 125 kilometers in about 12 minutes. It goes about 500 miles an hour. So if the Arabs can do it right, and all they have to do is spend money, there's not a single Arab designer involved. India just needs to spend the money to do it. There's companies out there, they're glad to have the work and the contracts. They'll give you good discounts. Do it right, copy paste, but copy and paste something that works. Again, I don't like Indian trains because it's never a fun journey. They're never on time. You take a train in Switzerland, you can't even tell you're moving. That's how smooth it is. And German trains and Swiss trains are there down to the minute. Italy, it's a different story, but that's Italian culture. But here, I just don't like it. You know, it's about as bad as the way they drive here, which is not safe.
And the food also you mentioned is pretty
Yeah, the
bad.
food is really bad. And actually, one time I sat in the cabin area where they make the food, and they're sitting there peeling the onions out in the open and just throwing them in the open. There's rats around, and I was with somebody and I said to them, I'll never eat on this train. I don't care if I don't see a rat. And they're just throwing the food out in the open. There's nobody washed their hands. I don't eat onions, so I didn't, get anything. But I felt bad for the people who eat this food.
Yeah. Thank you.